You are watching Places. Every Tuesday, we bring you an insightful look into fascinating events from all around the world. The best countries to get rich. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hey there, Aluxers, and welcome back. The factors you'd probably expect to see in a country where it's easiest to become rich are a free market economy, low taxes, and minimal government intervention. However, some of the most opportunistic countries have the complete opposite. Today we're looking at these countries and others that offer the best opportunities for those who want to get rich. By the end of this video, you'll have a much better idea of where you can go to find the smoothest path to financial success. But first, let's get some background info about which countries have the most rich people. Introduction. The Wealth Report defines a rich person as someone who has at least $30 million. These are referred to as ultra-high net worth individuals. The country with the most rich people by this definition is the United States, with more than 40,000, followed by Japan in a distant second with about 17,000, then Germany, the UK, and China. But if you look at the data a different way and instead consider the number of rich people as a percentage of the total population, the numbers tell a different story. First of all, let's disqualify tax havens like Monaco, Switzerland, Cyprus, Hong Kong, and Singapore. These countries all have a large number of rich people, but these numbers are artificial because their rich people come from all over the world. They choose to live or register their business in these countries mainly because of their tax haven status. We want to find the countries that actually have the most native rich people per capita. When we look at those numbers, Norway comes in first, with 484 rich people per million inhabitants, followed by Sweden, New Zealand, Canada, and Denmark. The US comes in at number 13 on that list, with 126 rich people per million inhabitants. If you look at the same data but raise the threshold for richness up to $1 billion, Iceland is the top country with 3.1 billionaires per million inhabitants. This is followed by Sweden, Norway, the US, and Germany. So the average for all of Scandinavia, which includes Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, is 2.1 billionaires per million people, while the average in the US is 1.7 billionaires per million people. Therefore, the data suggests that Scandinavian countries are the best places in the world to get rich. But why is that the case? Scandinavia. There's a perception that Scandinavian countries are anti-rich and anti-capitalist because they follow a socialist model, but that's not really the reality. Their economic model actually allows for more people to become rich, especially business owners and entrepreneurs who utilize advanced technology. Social democracies like in Scandinavia offer free education, which enables more people to pursue their goals and realize their potential. This also allows for more social mobility. Statistically, if a person is born into a poorer family, they have a much more difficult path toward achieving financial success than those who already are born into wealth. But when education and other opportunities are equally available to those of all incomes, it's easier to make that leap from poor to rich. This is why there are more self-made rich people in Scandinavia than in the US. In the United States, education is very expensive compared to most of other countries in the world, and this contributes to a lower level of social mobility. Scandinavian countries are also highly unionized. Consequently, there is no federal minimum wage in Denmark, Sweden, or Norway because collective bargaining agreements have pushed up the minimum acceptable salaries. They've done this so much that many jobs have been replaced by automation. This means that technology is advancing quickly in Scandinavia because of the need to have machines do more in the society. This new technology leads to increased productivity and also ultimately to greater profits in business as people are being replaced by machines. On the other hand, wages are also restricted for the higher level workers. An executive making $100,000 in the US would only be making about $75,000 per year in Scandinavian countries. This is great news for business owners and shareholders because the difference in pay contributes to the profits. While many people would suspect it would be very difficult to get rich in a Scandinavian country due to the high taxes enable more people to attain a quality education, so there's more talent contributing to the economy. The generous welfare system also provides a safety net, so entrepreneurs are willing to take more risks. In the US, unions are looked down upon by many executives, but the strength of the unions in Scandinavia has helped to increase productivity and technology. These are just some of the reasons why Norway, Denmark, and Sweden are the best countries in the world to get rich. Countries with close systems, such as Iceland, also offer similar opportunities to get rich, but they're not the only ones. United States and capitalist nations. The United States is known as the land of opportunity where people can pursue the American dream of prosperity and freedom. And even though the US does rank low in social mobility and income equality, there are many paths for those who want to become rich. Research has shown that education is an important factor. Graduates from Ivy League caliber universities have a better chance of breaking into the top 20% of income distribution, no matter what their family background is. However, a higher percentage of those who are accepted to Ivy League universities come from wealthy backgrounds in the first place. The top 1% is primarily made up of bankers and financiers, and the path to richness for many goes through Wall Street. Outside of a good education, the best chance to get rich in the US is through entrepreneurship. The US was named as the third best country in the world for entrepreneurship, according to the US News and World Report, behind Germany and Japan. The opportunities to get rich are similar to other capitalist and mixed economy countries like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, and the UK. But there are some other countries that shouldn't be overlooked. Emerging countries. Countries that have a high level of economic development and increasing industrialization are referred to as emerging countries. These countries are moving away from traditional economies based on agriculture and raw material exports and are creating mixed market or free economies that are more industry and technology based. Although the business infrastructure in these countries isn't fully developed, there are great opportunities for investors and entrepreneurs who are willing to do the necessary ground-level research. The rapid growth of industry in these economies results in a higher-than-average return for investors. However, there is also a greater level of risk due to the unstable nature of such economies. But the doors are wide open for those who are willing to assume those risks and make strategic investments or open a business that meets the needs of those in the market. The best emerging countries to get rich in include Indonesia, Peru, Poland, Taiwan, and South Korea. But there's one more category of countries that we should mention: corrupt countries. Of course, not all people get rich through hard work, entrepreneurship, or even through family ties. Sometimes corruption is the fastest path to gaining riches. Now, we are definitely not suggesting you move to a corrupt country and try to get rich in an underhanded way, but we can't overlook the reality that this is how a significant number of people in the world get rich today. Corrupt countries typically experience a high level of economic and political turmoil. Those who find wealth in these countries are normally high-level government officials or well-connected people like the oligarchs in Russia. While the majority of the population struggles with poverty, the most corrupt can live like kings when money gained through practices like bribery, tax evasion, money laundering, and changing the laws to benefit the rich. Therefore, we have to include corruption as a means to get rich, and we have to include countries like North Korea, Somalia, South Sudan, Russia, and Nigeria on this list of best countries to get rich, but that's only if you have the right connections or political power and are willing to do illegal acts to gain that wealth. Conclusion. It is possible to become rich no matter what country in the world you live in, but there are certainly some countries that make that path much easier than others. As we've learned today, Scandinavia is the prime place to be if you want to have the best chance of getting rich through starting a business or making strategic investments. But capitalist and mixed market economies also offer many opportunities for those willing to do the proper research and put in the work. Emerging economies pose the greatest risks for entrepreneurs, but they can also offer the highest rewards if you play your cards right. And finally, there will always be countries in this world where people gain tremendous wealth through corrupt actions and governments. In addition to countries we mentioned, some of the fastest growing economies in the world right now are located in Asia. So if you're interested in exploring how you can personally benefit from this growth, check out How Asia Works: Success and Failure in the World's Most Dynamic Region. This book explores the rapidly developing economies of 9 Asian countries and helps the reader to understand the dynamics behind this economic boom. Normally, this book costs $30, but save your money. Just go to Alux.com/freebook and sign up, and you can get the audiobook version for free thanks to our partnership with Audible. Question: Now that we're wrapping up this topic, we'd like to know, would you be willing to move to a different country if it meant you had a better chance at getting rich? Let us know what you think in the comments. And of course, for sticking with us until the end, here's your bonus. According to the World Bank, the global GDP in 2018 was $85.89 trillion. This is up from $80.8 trillion back in 2017. The country with the highest GDP is the United States, with $20.4 trillion. The US has been the world's largest economy since 1871, but China is threatening to surpass them in the coming years with their rapid growth. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos for you to watch next. As always, the conversation continues on social media. Thanks again, and we can't wait to have you back tomorrow.